Right. So in this class, we'll start metabolism of lipids. Now, what are lipids? Essentially, these are esters of fatty acids. Okay. When you form an ester with in between fatty acid and a glycerol molecule. So what is an ester? When you have an RCOR dash bond, so essentially there is a RCOR dash bond, different methyl groups or different alkyl groups attached to it. This group is called a ester bond. Okay. Lipids are essentially esters that are formed in between fatty acids and glycerol, a type of alcohol. Okay, when you combine these both, you will get lipids. Now, some foods that are very rich in lipids include milk, eggs, liver, ghee, butter, vegetable oils, nuts, seeds. All of these are very, very good sources of lipids. Now, lipids essentially will serve as fuel to your body. Okay, lipids are good sources of fats, so they will serve as a very good source for energy. Okay, and good reserve for energy as well in your body, because the calorific value of one lipid, 1 gram of lipid, 1 gram of fat or 1 gram of lipid essentially is about 9 kilocalories. Okay. So other than that, it will provide insulation. Okay. Especially when it is present in good quantities in subcutaneous tissue, lipids will act as an insulatory material. They will regulate membrane permeability. What kind of substances can pass through membranes, उसकी जो membrane की permeability रहती. So if I take a membrane like this, let us suppose its property where it is allowing certain substances to go in and certain substances to not go inside. Only certain substances will be allowed inside. That is essentially membrane permeability. That membrane permeability will be regulated by lipids. Depending on the amount of lipid present in that membrane, it might be very permeable or it might not be permeable altogether. And from lipids, you get multiple important compounds. Some important compounds include cholesterol. From cholesterol, in turn, you will get other products like steroid hormones. You can get prostaglandins. You can get vitamin D, so on and so forth. You get multiple products of it. And lipids also form a protective coating around your organs. So inside in your viscera, around the organs, you will see a thin layer of lipids. Essentially, it is forming a protective layer, a protective coating around these organs. Okay. And whenever your body is not able to synthesize fatty acid for various processes, let us suppose there is a diseased condition of patient in which the patient is not able to produce fatty acids, then lipids will be able to break down and they will be able to provide the fatty acids which are required by your body. Now you will see multiple different types of lipids. Essentially, if you classify lipids, you will get three different types of lipids: simple lipids, compound lipids, and derived lipids. You will also have miscellaneous type, but are this thing the main important ones will come under compound lipids. Okay. Compound lipids such as lecithins. So अगर आप lipids को classify करें, there are three different types of lipids. You have simple lipids, compound lipids, and derived lipids. You'll also have miscellaneous type of lipids as well. Now, in mainly in compound lipids, you have multiple different types. There are lecithins, okay, mainly found in liver. Okay, they will contain a choline molecule. They're very, very important to prevent fat accumulation in your liver and for lipid digestion. Okay. You have this thing as well, sphingomyelins. Sphingomyelins. Sphingomyelins are lipids that will be present in your this thing, आपके nervous system में present रहते हैं. Let me put it this way: without sphingomyelins, people will have metabolic disorders or they will be brain damage in people who do not have adequate amount of sphingomyelins Glycolipids is another one. Glycolipid is it is a compound lipid which contains carbohydrate molecule and a lipid. Okay, it will also contain a nitrogenous base and all, but essentially glycolipids are those lipids that will have a carbohydrate group attached to it. You will see glycolipids mainly in the white matter of your brain. You will see it in the myelin sheath of your neurons as well. So myelin sheath is a layer that is present around your neurons that is helping in myelinated neurons. Essentially, it will help in increasing conduction velocity. So as you can understand, lipids are quite important inside your body, and one of the most important type of lipids that you will see altogether will be called lipoproteins. Now, lipoproteins are essentially a very complex type of molecule, which is a combination of a lipid and a protein, hence the name lipoprotein. Now, lipoproteins are of four different types. You will have VLDL, HDL, LDL, and IDL. ठीक है, main important ones are these, but you will also have IDL. What is their function? The most important function of lipoproteins is to transport lipids. इसका function ये रहता कि it can transport lipids from liver to the tissues to the body, and from your body to your liver. Depending on what type of function it is performing, you will have different type of lipoproteins. Now let us suppose we talk about very low density lipoprotein first, VLDL. Now if a molecule VLDL, very low density lipoprotein. Now this is a very big molecule. Okay, its density is very low, meaning its size will be very big. Okay, I'll repeat that point once again. Because this is a very low density type of lipoprotein, it is not compressed at all. It will be very inflated. For example, let us suppose you take a balloon. बलून इज समथिंग जो लाइक चिल्ड्रन जो खेलते हैं ना, बलून फुग्गा जिसको बोलते हैं, दैट बलून हैज वेरी लो डेंसिटी. It will not have proper density at all, and it can float in the air, and it will, if you leave the string of that balloon, it will go up. Okay, versus if you take something which is highly dense, high density substances, things like, let's suppose you take a stone or you take a pen, it is much more dense comparatively. In this scenario, very low density lipoprotein refers to a type of lipoprotein, lipid plus protein, which is a very big in size. It is a special type of protein that contains a lot of lipid in it. It will contain a lot of fat in it. Okay, and the function of VLDL is to transport lipids from your liver to various parts of your body. And lipids are mainly synthesized. This VLDL is mainly synthesized in your liver. Okay, uh, it is essentially, how should I put it, it is a transporter of fat that provides fat wherever it is required in your body. It will carry fat along with it, and wherever it is mainly transporting triacyl glycerols, triglycerides जो बोलते हैं, TGs. If you have ever done lipid profile, have you ever seen a lipid profile? Do you know what is a lipid profile? There is a diagnostic test called lipid profile. कभी देखे? You will do it to patients who have coronary artery disease or different let's suppose diabetes है या heart conditions है, तो उनको lipid profile करते हैं. Never seen it in a hospital? Okay, I guess you did not see. So lipid profile essentially is a diagnostic test. Let us suppose there is a patient who comes to your hospital with coronary artery disease or heart attack or atherosclerosis or angina, जो भी है हार्ट का कंडीशन है. Generally a doctor will, cardiologist will prescribe them to perform or to get a lipid profile done. That lipid profile will tell what kind of, what is the level of cholesterol in that patient's blood, what is the amount of HDL, LDL, these lipoprotein levels in their blood. It will also tell triglyceride, what is their lipid profile, what kind of lipids are present inside their body, and what is the amount of lipid that is present inside their body. So triacyl glycerol, TGs, are one such type of fats. Triacylglycerol, if it is present in very high quantities, they can cause diseases. Essentially, they can cause atherosclerosis. So, very low density proteins are uh, responsible for movement of triacylglycerols, those TGs. Then you have LDL, low density lipoprotein. Now you can study LDL and HDL together. This is high density lipoprotein, this is low density lipoprotein, LDL. Okay, both of them are opposite in function. So how are they opposite? Let us suppose I draw your liver like this, and imagine I am drawing various tissues in your body like this. I'll just write tissue as this: tissue, organs, and all of that, other than liver. Okay, various parts of your body, even your muscle. High density lipoprotein carries fat from your body or throughout your blood, throughout your body, to your liver, so that that fat can get processed and it can be broken down, or it can be thrown out of your body if it is not necessary. Okay, it will also be stored in the form of adipose tissue if it is not necessary in your blood. Normally there should be some amount of fat in your blood, and that fat is used by various cells in your body for various purposes. But whatever excessive amount of fat is present inside your blood, that is transported towards your liver or to the liver, so that it can process that fat, and it can, either use it or throw it away or store it, whatever it is doing. This process is done by HDL. That is why HDL is called the good type of lipoprotein. So you will see that in a lot of cooking oils that you use, whenever you go to the market and buy cooking oil, next time if you ever observe gold drop, sun drop, whatever different type of oil that you use, you will see that some of them will have this thing written: low in LDL, high in HDL, good type of fat, etc., etc. They will write. So ideally, in a healthy person, you would want high amounts of HDL and low amounts of LDL. Why do you need low amounts of LDL? Low density lipoprotein will do the opposite of HDL. It will carry fat from your liver to the tissue, organs, and as well as in blood. So low density lipoprotein is essentially transporting lipids from your liver. It will not let fat get processed altogether. It is making sure that fat is being distributed on your tissues and organs and muscles. The problem with excessive fat is that if it starts getting accumulated on organs, it can hinder the function of the organ. Wherever it is getting deposited, let us suppose fat is getting deposited on kidneys, to a certain extent it is fine, it will provide protection, insulation, all of that. But if there is excessive amount of fat, that can be a problem, because if there is excessive amount of fat on, let's suppose, kidney, that kidney will stop functioning properly, or any other organ for that matter, pancreas or spleen or heart or wherever it is. Okay, so this function where fat is being transported from your liver to your organs, muscles, blood, and tissue, that is done by LDL. So ideally, in a healthy person, LDL number amount should be low and HDL should be high. Ideally, okay. In an ideal scenario, in a healthy person, high density lipoprotein level should be higher, and low density lipoprotein level should be lower. Okay. So that is a general picture of lipoproteins. Did you understand these? What are different types of lipoproteins and what are their functions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one second. आप लोगों को और क्या है? Essential fat. Yes. Okay, we'll talk about cholesterol now. Some of the important types of lipids that are present in your body and some of the important products that you get from those lipids. Okay, we'll talk about cholesterol. Now, cholesterol is something that is produced inside your body, and it has something called a steroid nucleus. So steroid nucleus is a, I'll show you what a steroid nucleus looks like. One second. So this is a steroid nucleus. What does that mean? Any chemical or any molecule inside your body that has this structure, ऐसा type of structure attached to it, that will be called a steroid molecule. ठीक है, the structure that you are seeing on the screen, the 20 molecule structure, 20 different जो आपके 4 different rings present है, 3 hexagonal rings, 1 pentagonal ring attached to it. This 20 membered ring is called a steroid structure or a steroid nucleus. Whichever molecule has a steroid nucleus will be called a steroid or a sterol. Okay? So cholesterol is a type of sterol. I hope you are understanding. Cholesterol is a steroid molecule. This fellow has a steroid nucleus present inside it. Hence, it is called a steroid molecule. Now, multiple products that are derived from cholesterol also come under steroid molecules because they also will have all of those the sterol structure. For example, from cholesterol you can get bile acids, bile salts. Acha, do you all know what is bile?
Pancreatic juices.
Okay, anyone else? What is bile? Not exactly pancreatic juice.
Bile juice, sir. This is present in pancreas.
Bile juice is not present in pancreas. Bile juice is produced by your
Okay,
liver.
sir. Okay, sorry.
Bile is produced by your liver. It will combine with pancreatic juices and it will come out of your common bile duct. Okay, the pathway is similar, but it is produced by your liver and it is stored in your gallbladder. So whenever there is food present or whenever your body wants to secrete that bile, gallbladder will contract and bile will come out. Now when it is coming out, so let us suppose this is your liver and this is your pancreas. ठीक है, यहाँ से एक डक्ट ऐसा जाता, यहाँ से एक डक्ट ऐसा आता, common hepatic duct, and from here you will see that there is a common duct coming out like this. In this common duct opens into your intestine, specifically into your duodenum and jejunum के पास open होता. This will contain both bile fluid and it will contain pancreatic juices. But bile is not being produced in your pancreas. Okay, it is being produced in your liver and it is being collected in your gallbladder. Small organ ऐसा रहता, green color का. In that you will see bile being collected whenever necessary. Generally, whenever you eat food, that is when bile will get secreted. So the point of bile is that it will help in digestion. Bile acids and bile salts, they are very very important for digesting and breaking down fats. Without normal amount of bile acid and without normal bile salts, you will not be able to digest and you will not be able to absorb the fat that you are consuming. So let us suppose what type of fats do you eat generally? आपके diet में what type of fats do you eat? What type of fats do humans generally encounter? Oil is one type of fat, cooking oil, ghee another type of fat, the animal fat if they are non-vegetarians, milk will contain fat to a certain extent. They will, especially full fat milk जो है उसके अंदर बहुत fat रहता, skimmed milk will also have a little bit of fat in it, so on and so forth. So whatever type of food that you eat will contain some sort of fat, so which is important for your body. You need fats for normal functioning of your body, you need them for normal hormone production. Without fats, cholesterol cannot be formed, and without cholesterol a lot of important hormones in your body will not be formed, so the patient will become sick. So let us suppose you are eating certain fats in your body. Let us suppose you eat some vada, for example. Let us suppose today morning for breakfast, Sujata had vada. Okay, now that vada will contain vada and sambar. Both of them will have certain amount of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and fibers, and so on and so forth. That fat which is getting mixed in the vada, what happens is once you consume it, It'll go down your, it'll go in from your mouth to your esophagus, and it'll reach your stomach. From stomach it'll reach your intestines. By the time it is reaching your intestine, especially your small intestine, what happens is, there is a trigger in your body saying that, okay, bile please get activated and please get released. Your liver will get activated and your pancreas will get activated. The point is that whenever food will come to your duodenum and jejunum, bile will be ready there. So whenever bile acts on those molecules of food, it will break those molecule of food further down, and your complex lipids rehte, it will convert those complex lipids into simpler lipids. These simple lipids can be later on digested by your intestine. Without bile, specifically without bile acids and bile salts, you will not be able to digest these fats. So, anyway, coming back to our topic of this thing, cholesterol. As I was talking about cholesterol, यहाँ पर it is a steroid molecule. You will have various different types of steroid molecules. For example, bile acids is one. Then vitamin D, very important. Steroid hormones like progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, all of these are produced from cholesterol, and all of these will have a steroid nucleus in them. They will have that 20 membered ring present inside them. Now, cholesterol is widely distributed in all cells in your body. You will see that almost all the cells of your body will have cholesterol to a certain extent. Okay, very important component of your cells. And it'll be a major component, especially of your cell membranes. Okay, cholesterol is present in your cell membranes, and you'll see it in lipoproteins as well. Okay. Generally, you will see cholesterol in association with fatty acids. It will form something called a cholesterol ester, and those cholesterol itself will be a like a yellowish crystal. Okay, crystalline solid substance का ऐसा रहता है, which is insoluble in water. It cannot be solubilized in water, but it can be solubilized in organic solvents. For example, if you take a little bit of chloroform, you can solubilize cholesterol in it, or benzene उसके अंदर solubilize हो सकता. Normally, the amount of cholesterol in serum cholesterol is around 150 to 250 milligrams per deciliter. So, if in people who have more than 250 milligrams of cholesterol per 10 ml of their blood, it will mean that they have a problem. Okay, they have very high amounts of cholesterol, and if it is less than 150, that is also a problem. Cholesterol is used for multiple production of multiple compounds. As I told you, steroid hormones hai, vitamin D hai, bile salts hai, bile acids hai, so on and so forth. Another important product that you get from lipids, or another important lipid that is present in your body, is prostaglandins. These are also called PGs. Now there are multiple different types of PGs: PGE1, PGE2, PGI1, so on and so forth. There are multiple different types of, there are almost 20 to 30 different types of prostaglandins. Almost all cells of your body except RBCs have the capability of producing prostaglandins. I'll repeat once again. Almost all cells in your body have the capability of producing prostaglandins except RBC. RBC will not be able to produce prostaglandins. Now these are generally synthesized uh, whenever there is inflammation, or wherever, let us suppose, they have multiple functions. Depending on different type of prostaglandin, you will see different function. Okay. Some of the important functions that you see of prostaglandin will include regulation of blood pressure. Prostaglandins can control blood pressure, specifically PGE1, prostaglandin A, and PGI2. These are vasodilators. Now, what is a vasodilator? Vasodilator is a term used to for conditions sorry used for substances that are able to dilate your blood vessels. Okay, so let us suppose this is a blood vessel. Whenever prostaglandins act on these blood vessels, they will become larger like this. So how is it affecting your blood pressure? Acha, I'll give you one example. Let us suppose you have a pipe. Okay, I'm sure in your home you will use different pipes to transfer water from one place to another. You will attach that pipe to a null, and so that you can transfer water from one place to another. Now, what will happen if you squeeze that pipe when water is passing through it? Did you all understand the question? Let us suppose you have a pipe, okay, in which water is flowing with a certain speed, and that water has a certain amount of pressure in it inside that pipe. What will happen if you squeeze the pipe? If you pinch the pipe, what will happen?
It will be stopped.
Acha, nahi, nahi, you're not okay, ठीक है. If it is stopping
Pressure
as
is
well,
increased, sir.
yes, pressure is increasing. Even if you completely pinch it so strong that complete water is being stopped, you will see that the area wherever it is getting stopped, pressure increases, and within a few seconds, that pipe will come out of the null. Okay, if you have attached it to a null, because of that increased pressure, because water is getting accumulated, that pipe will get detached from the null. Now, your blood vessels are very similar to that pipe. The fluid that is flowing inside your blood vessel here is blood. So the pressure of your blood can be varied depending on the diameter of your blood vessels. Depending on how narrow or how thick your blood vessels are, the blood pressure will change. So if I take an example of situation 1 and situation 2, where do you think blood pressure will be higher? Let us suppose both of these are blood vessels. One blood vessel is dilated, meaning it is bigger in diameter. One is small or constricted. In which scenario will blood pressure be high? One या two?
One, sir.
One. I hope the others understood as well. यहाँ पर whenever blood vessel is constricted, whenever it is thinner or smaller, there will be a lot of pressure inside that blood vessel. If you simply are able to increase the size of that blood vessel, you'll be able to decrease blood pressure. Whenever, because of whatever reason, blood pressure increases in a person's body, your body will start secreting prostaglandins, specifically PGA, PGI2, prostaglandin E1. The point of secreting them is that they will increase the size of that blood vessel. As you can see, they will dilate the blood vessel. When they dilate the blood vessel, that same blood has more area to pass through, because of which what happens is BP falls, BP decreases. That is how it is controlling blood pressure. Okay. You will also see that prostaglandins have an important function in reproduction. How? Prostaglandin E2 and F2 especially are used for medical termination of pregnancy, or you can also use it to induce labor and abortion. Now, depending on how you are using it, it can be beneficial and harmful as well. Let us suppose there is a lady who is on full term. Okay? There is a lady who is 9 months pregnant and who is about to go into labor. Okay? Or who is already in labor, let's suppose. And sometimes you know that some people will have a labor that goes on for a long period of time. Okay? Normally, how long should labor last? आप लोगों को थोड़ा तो अभी ओबीजी पढ़ाए होंगे ना? How long does labor last on an average in a healthy person? How long should labor last?
34 weeks, sir.
How long should labor last? What is labor? मैं प्रेगनेंसी नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, लेबर बोल रहा हूँ. अच्छा, what is labor? First of all, we'll discuss that because you guys are getting confused. I'm not telling pregnancy, I'm talking about labor. Acha, how do you know that that a lady is ready for uh, this thing parturition, or she is ready to give birth? What are the signs that a lady is about to give birth?
Pain, sir.
Okay. Where pain exactly? When you're telling pain, you have to be a little specific. Headache होता या हाथ में दर्द होता, पैर में दर्द होता, किधर दर्द होता? Where is that pain? So they will have abdominal pain.
Yes, sir.
Uh, and their water will leak. Essentially, you will see that their mucus plug is being removed, and you will see a little bit of amniotic fluid being leaked. Okay, that is essentially one indication that the lady is ready to go into labor. Okay, that period where she is ready to get into where she is ready to give birth, and the point up to which she is giving birth. So in between, let us suppose I create a window like this. This is the point where she is ready to give birth, and here is where she gives birth. So let us suppose she's starting to have pain around 4 p.m. in the afternoon, 4 p.m. in the evening. Okay, and let's suppose she actually gives birth at 2 a.m. in the morning next day. Okay, so this period in between is called labor. My question was, what is a normal labor period? How long does a normal labor period go on for?
6 to 12 hours.
6 to 12 hours. Okay. Pakka, what about others? यही है answer, or you will also see certain patients who have labor going on for a long period of time. Sometimes some people have a difficult time in actually having labor. Okay, you need to know that their cervix needs to dilate completely up to 10 centimeters. Only then they can progress with, pushing the baby out if it is natural, or else you can perform C-section as well. But in any case, let us suppose it is a natural birth, so you have to make sure that their cervix is 10 centimeters dilated. Now, in this scenario, some people will have their labor extended more than this. Okay, let us suppose there is a lady who has been in labor for 48 hours. Example. Okay, and they are not able to get into labor altogether. In such people, you can medically induce labor, or you can progress their labor essentially by giving prostaglandins. Prostaglandins will dilate your cervix. They will essentially push the baby out. They will make sure that the patient's labor is quickly over. They will induce labor, and essentially they will help in the process of parturition. They help in the process of birthing. Okay, they have other reproductive functions as well, which we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay, for now we'll end here. What I want you to do is read about the functions of what is labor, how does it occur, क्या होता, वो पूरा एक बार पढ़ो, because I see that a little bit of confusion is still there. Read about that. Tomorrow we'll continue with this.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.